Hi, I'm Greg Cummings, CEO of Power100 and your host today on PowerChat. I have two awesome guys here, Dustin Rhoades and Taylor Haynes. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man. Nice to be here for sure.
Great to be here. Great to see you again, Greg. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, appreciate you coming back, Taylor. And Dustin, it's good to finally have you on here. We've had a chance to connect a lot of different places all over the country, but this is going to be a good kind of consolidated conversation. First of all, would you mind, I know who you all are, but would you mind just introducing yourself to the folks out there that maybe don't know who you all are? Dustin, if you want to kick it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Been in the industry, what was it, 24 years now, just a little bit of time, right? Current role is VP of Sales, Great Day Improvements. A pretty decent sized organization here. Came up the ranks, authored a book called Dumb Tax. To find your wife or how to hire sales professionals, and just learned how to really. I call myself the turnaround specialist. Gone into most businesses that have been failing or lackluster results, and 10x if not times more the productivity of it. So been real successful in most places I've gone because I have paid my dumb tax, as the book says. Not always successful, but yeah, excited to be here. But yeah, definitely rounded out in the industry for a very long time. So yeah, that's quick rendition.
Cool. Well, I know everybody has a lot to learn from you, and I will say that I haven't met anybody that knows you that doesn't think very highly of you. So appreciate you being here. Taylor,
Thank you, man.
would you mind sharing who you are a little bit?
Yeah, happy to. So, Taylor Haynes, I'm the Chief Operating Officer at One Click Contractor. I've been there for about 3 years. Had an opportunity to jump in and help run that business and try to take it to the next level. I started my career in the military. I grew up as a kid, always wanted to be a soldier, always wanted to jump out of airplanes and shoot machine guns. So I went off to West Point. Along the way, I graduated from airborne school and ranger school and served as an infantry officer. What I always say, Greg, is that I'm all about the team. I'm all about building and growing teams. And I'm just kind of doing the same stuff that I started learning day one at West Point, working with people, trying to put them in position where they can succeed the most, the best, and also really taking care of customers. And we've had a lot of fun doing this. We got a great team at One Click, and we get to work with great folks like Dustin and the team that he gets to serve on his side of things. So that's what we're all about. We're enjoying it.
Yeah, I know you guys are changing lives, literally giving people time back. What you're doing at One Click is tremendous, which is why you're nationally ranked on our platform. So excited to hear a little bit more about that as we dive into it. But Dustin, maybe from your vantage point, can you elaborate on how you first came across One Click Contractor, and what was the scenario? Did you have a need? Did you have a want? What was the scenario, and what were your first impressions?
My gosh, yes, need and want.
Okay.
Two big things, right? So when I first came across them, I was working with Dreamstyle actually, and they had everything was on paper, right? We're talking old school hand scribbling paper, and we just started a bath division from scratch out of our San Diego location. Literally, just had a thought of being a bath company. So, I came up with the program, put it all together, and then started realizing how many mistakes and how clunky all the paperwork process was, and then trying to tie the back end with the front ends together was just a disaster. And the amount of mistakes and change orders needed, and all the variances and missed signatures, and just the headache. So I reached out to them, and at that point, it was quite a while ago. They had like a little bit newer platform. So I'd messed around with some other tech, interviewing everybody before I actually came onto One Click, and I didn't like a lot of them were really convoluted. Trying to figure that out, and then again, the simplicity and their ability to help and customize my situation helped me get everything digital, off paper, the pricing tool, the deliverance, the confidence, and the reps, just huge. So the need that I had in my business, and then how fast we're able to turn it around and then get everything digital, digital off paper. I can tell you the mistakes it's added, a lot of the different things in the business has been a huge upgrade. And again, their ability to work with us and customize it without giving too much away too soon is just huge. So that's how I've got to know One Click is, I've operated with them not once, but then we ended up taking it around the entire company too. Now twice I'm bringing it back in because the confidence that I have in them and what they can help me do to execute, and not just execute, but time is money in our industry. So I don't have a lot of time to spend on hand holding and figuring things out. So there's a reason why they're back in my mix again now currently.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I know what they do, but what is, maybe from your vantage point, I'm curious, what's the most influential, or what's the biggest lift that you're getting? I know you mentioned making sure all the T's and C's and all the details are dotted and all that good stuff. But like, if you were really to take a sledgehammer and actually smash home, like, this is why I use them, or this is why I could never leave them, or this is why they're better than the other things or technologies that you looked at, where are you slamming that sledgehammer?
So I'll get a little deeper this time then. I was trying to keep it a little high level last time, but getting the sledgehammer deep. So if you ever work for me and anyone that's ever been and visited my organizations, I had people travel around the country to come join meetings and just introduce and kind of see how we run our ship because it's very well ran. And I believe wholeheartedly, before I get into the nuts and bolts of it, is you can manage a process and system, you can't manage chaos. And the system you bring people in is what creates a sticky culture. Let's talk about that word sticky for a minute, right? Because turnover rate in the remodeling industry is very high, right? And it's because, again, a lot of times representatives, they come into a system they don't quite believe, they don't align with, and it's not the bill of goods they were sold. So I was looking at it, well, how do I take the user interface and let's reverse engineer it, not from the company's perspective, but from the representative's perspective and the homeowner's perspective. So how do I create a tool, or how do I work with a tool that's going to give the user face of easeability of training? We all know that training and time and resources, two of the biggest headaches you're going to have as a leader in the remodeling industry is training, right? Is training and recruiting. Those two things will burn you to death. Like my book, Dumb Tax, I'm going to throw a little plug there. The average, I did a study on a couple brands here, and it's anywhere between $180,000 to $250,000 for an employee of a wasted money and efficiency and the fact of 90 days. It's freaking sick, right? $200,000 per employee on a 90 days. So how did I simplify that? So I was looking, how do I bring them in? How do I limit mistakes so they're not getting their commission aid? And then again, getting all of the data that we need from every freaking line item, right? So looking at, I've actually fired two different companies that started a project for us that the time frame for them to execute from beginning to end were way too far. It took way too long. We're talking 90 days to even get to a point where we could even think about using it, and then an additional 120 days to even execute it. And that's if we gave them everything we needed to be perfect, with them literally doing nothing and we're the administrator. So I'm like, that just sounds like a freaking headache, right? So the purpose of bringing them in and the nuts and bolts is we were able to give them the spreadsheets of our pricing. We're able to give them the details of the projects they wanted to. As a matter of fact, some of them, I've actually developed relationships with them and manufacturers as well. Kind of cool. So again, they have a lot of the price books already built into it. So it became very easy to plug and play and allow us to get our details into it, even working out things as far as commissions. Representatives want to get paid and need to get paid on time because let's face it, I've never met a salesperson that doesn't live paycheck to paycheck, right? Even the best ones, let's face it, they spend what they make. And that's what makes them good because they keep that urgency in their life. So making sure they know what they're getting paid and we know what they're paid. And it's these three words: consistent, fair, and defendable. And the system dictates it based on what they inputted in the system. So the rep takes ownership. It limits the amount of administrative burden on the back end and allows us to operate as one single unit where it even integrates into our CRM that we don't have to really touch a piece of paper. So my whole deal is we know mistakes happen every time paper crosses hands, right? Every time that piece of paper shifts from a rep to an admin, from an admin to a measure tech, from a measure tech to basically an installer. If we can limit that exposure and then create the profit in the business by the system, that's really what One Click did for us. It was an all-in platform. I work with Engage, worked with them for a long time too. They actually have integrated Engage where it becomes part of their systematic process. You look at the nuts and bolts on the left, what I call a workflow, right? So we start from the presentation piece to the measurements to basically the building of the job itself, into the documents, into literally the contract writing itself. We built what I call safeguards. And I know I'm just blabbing a whole bunch, but there's a lot to say, right? A lot of safeguards in there to where a representative can't leave the house without getting a signature on a specific item, so we know all paperwork when it's completed is done correctly, and it makes it as close to rep resistant as possible. I don't think anything's ever rep proof, but as close to rep resistant as possible, which minimize mistakes. And then I call my favorite saying is rowing the boat. Now the back end, the front end, culturally is aligned. They all love the program. Administrative loves the programs. It saves them time. And then you got everybody rowing the boat to basically move out. And I resist saying it because I like to keep one click on my own. I don't like to even give out my best secrets, but this is one of my secret sauces to help me get the business scalable and then in a quick time frame and move in the right direction and remove accuracy. So this thing right here will again allow us to even dictate the commission structure. You're welcome. They did that for us as well, where they did the commission structure in the back where you can automate the commissions, which will drop right into your CRM. Your CSV, which is your ordering sheets, get accessed off of it. So it's really a front and a back end tool as well that makes it what I call a complete system. So,
so your answer to the sledgehammer, you got a big ass sledgehammer, so you're smashing it on the whole thing.